Okay, this is Lakes and Beaches, June 3rd, 2024. Thanks to everyone for attending. We'll start the meeting as we always do.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for being here, and thanks as always for your comments. They really help us know if we're moving in the right direction or not, and even if when we're not moving in the right direction, we appreciate those as much. The agenda I initially sent out several days ago. I wanted to give a quick update on CleanFlow, talk about the stormwater runoff presentation and results or the recommendations from that. The rinse station update, varmint removal. I'm not talking about him. No wake zones, signage, food trucks and food availability at the beach. I also added a couple of things, the spillway at Summer and Winter Lake, and then a thing about reporting of boat incidents. So, does anybody need to add anything or? All right, then let's get started. I started to say this will be a quick meeting because we don't have a lot of motions and we can, that's the kiss of death whenever you say that. I won't. I did happen to go and visit Indian Lake. CleanFlow representatives were at Indian Lake and doing their monthly or semi-monthly service. And I got to speak to not only Dave Grote, who was here for our bathymetric studies, but also the representatives from Indian Lake. They were very supportive of CleanFlow, but I learned, you know, we still have a lot to do if we go with bio dredging. There's still a lot of preparation to do that. And I learned that from talking to the people at Indian Lake, as well as Dave Grote. I've been working with them. I'm sorry, we're unmuted. We had this one time and it muted, and I had to make it up from memory. It wasn't fun. For CleanFlow, though, again, I visited Indian Lake. Dave Grote was there, as well as the Indian Lake representatives. The one thing I'll give you as a takeaway is that Indian Lake told us that it was 2 years from the time they does somebody know Zoom? What? It keeps coming up that I'm muted. The meeting is being recorded. Oh. I need to hit this.
We do have it on video as well, so you're saved by that
Oh, thank God.
if Zoom doesn't come through for you.
No. Do I need to do this?
No, you're good.
Now we're good?
Yeah, you turn off the video if you want to record yourself.
Okay, thank you.
You did it.
Okay, we'll start over. I'm not going to go through the agenda again, but CleanFlow, again, I visited Indian Lake. One thing that I spoke with the CleanFlow representatives as well as Indian Lake representatives. One thing I learned though was it took them 2 years from the time they decided to move with this project to the time that they actually implemented oxygen concentrators and diffusers, etc. I've recently talked to people at Lake Sherwood, which bought a similar program from a different vendor, and they told me the same thing. It was about 2 years. So of course, I've been interacting with them, meeting with them, doing all kinds of things, trading emails. You know, they're anxious to get started, etc. But again, I want to make sure that we make the right decision, long-term decision, not an emotional one. The most recent proposals they gave us, again, as we're doing on everything, trying to find the most cost-effective way to run this community, were some, with some shared responsibilities as far as the maintenance goes on the, like, changing out filters or actually doing some of the dispensing of the chemicals, et cetera. And so those are the most recent proposals they've given us, but I still think we're a ways away from where we need to be as far as implementing, but we are gaining more and more information all the time.
How did the other company compare to Clean Flow that you talked to at Sherwood?
Again, they're very pleased too. They just got started. They just turned their diffusers on, or their, diffusers. And so they're just getting started. They were, they started them maybe last month, and they said immediately it started turning over the lake, and it turned into about the color of that table, so they stopped it, and they've been ramping it up, and they just now have them on for 24 hours straight. I'm still waiting for a quote from, or a bid or a quote, if you will, from Aquatic Controls. We asked them for one some time ago, and then they asked me for a bunch of information. I gave it to them, and so I'm waiting to hear from them too. But interesting, Lake Sherwood they also got bids from Clean Flow and Aquatic Controls, and they said all three of their bids were very, very similar. So I don't expect them to be a lot different. Stormwater runoff, regional drainage. Mark, I know you.
Yep.
We got the information from Mike Cook after that wonderful presentation. He gave us the name of 3 engineering firms. Mark has been in contact with them, and you want to?
Yeah, we got 2 bids, kind of sticker shock. One was $12,000 and the other was $15,000 to come in and do an analysis of the lakes and the creeks that are feeding the lakes, and what our options would be and their suggestions. We've got one more company that finally called me back today. We gave them the information we needed, and we should have that other bid in tomorrow or the next day. But seeing that one's 15 and one's 12, I imagine it's going to be in that neighborhood.
Well, I think that's important. Unfortunately, that's not going to give us any idea how much any of the projects or solutions. If you recall, when Mike was here, he said some of these can be pretty inexpensive, and some of the different what do you call them, best practice. He had a 3-letter acronym that was about best practices, and he said it can get awfully very expensive too, depending on. But we kind of have the option to pick some of those things and get the community involved. So more on that. I wish we had more information. The scary part is we still don't have any idea what it would cost us to do it, and I think that's. I don't know if we can have one of these studies done before September comes, so we have an idea of what we're talking money-wise or not. It depends. But I don't think we would put a number on something if we don't know what that number is.
Can I ask something? Is that true of biodredging as well, that we're not able to come up with a ballpark enough to?
Well, I think we have a good number for
I thought you did.
biodredging from one company. I'm still
Right.
waiting to hear from.
Because as you guys tighten up the ballot assessment item,
Yeah.
the numbers will be in there, because of course everyone wants to know how much, where's this money gonna go to? And that's within the next couple of months decision will have to be locked down, so.
I think we have a number we could go with as far as Clean Flow. I think we have a close enough
I
number.
thought you did.
It's going to be a little different depending on if we can store chemicals for them, if we can store a boat for them, if we want to do some of the dosing. But you know, the greatest cost is the upfront cost the first year, and that's all the equipment. Not only the oxygen concentrators or compressor concentrators, I guess, but it's a lot of it is the tubing. That tubing is apparently very expensive. That's what everyone has told me, because the other 2 places that have had this have propellers hit the tubing, and it's a very costly repair. So that's one of the main challenges when it comes to that. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I would jump to, I'm going to skip down to the spillway. The spillway between Summer and Winter Lakes, After that heavy rain, how many weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was over there looking, and I could, just under the edge of it, I could see a little bit of water running down underneath the edge of the spillway. Trickle, not much, but a lot of the big rocks, the riprap, were actually pushed down into the lake. And so I think it needs to be addressed. My thought, not knowing much about all of this, I thought, well, we'll just, whenever we get this company to come out, these companies to come out and look about giving a storm or a regional, what's that called? A regional drainage study, we'll have them, hey, can you give us a bid on this too? But that has not come at all the way we'd anticipated. So I think we need to make it a separate item and somebody get some bids for that.
So I talked to Jesse, who lives here in Rain Creek, and Hewitt, and he basically said, I sent him the pictures that we all kind of got of the rocks being moved, and he said that it would, what he called it, minus rock, which, and then riprap. He said it probably would take 2 truckloads, each truckload roughly about $400 of gravel, or the minus, and then with his cost, probably somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500 total to get that done. Although, he said his concern was is if it's something that's underneath, you gotta look at it where it's kind of like somebody's front porch and it starts sinking. And so he did give me the name of the gentleman that would come out and they'd drill down and pump in whatever that, you know, brings up your concrete and has concrete underneath of it, so that it would totally block it off, not just rip rock, but just lock it down. So
Well, that's why I think we need to have an engineering firm come and look at it and tell us, hey, you guys, this is a sentinel marker for something really bad that's going underneath your spillway, or it's not. And I don't know where to start. I called Magruder, up in Veolia, because they're the ones who repaired it in 2016. And I just thought that would be the place to start, but they haven't gotten back to me yet, so.
Talk to Mark Magruder.
I talked to a guy, his last name was Kensey, I think Steve or Mike or something, Kensey. I left him a message. I
Right.
haven't heard back.
When'd you call
A week ago?
him? I grew up with him, I know him real well, It's a small town, you know?
Yeah. Well, I really think that we need to have an engineering firm. I mean, I don't know if that costs to have them come out and just look or
I don't
not.
think it does for a bid.
I don't think there were any charges associated with any of the bids for the work done previously. I saw the bids for when it was done in 2016.
Right.
And so I think we probably need to look at that as a separate project. Does somebody want to take charge of that project? I have my hands full right now, so.
for what?
Contacting engineering firms and having them come out and look at the spillway and tell us.
Well, is what the guy you're talking about?
They're not an engineering firm, they're just a construction company. They do a lot of road work with like the stormwater and then the, you know, stuff in like the medians. They do a lot of that, and they do a lot of asphalt work.
Well, I think,
So specifically, people that do engineering with dams is what you're looking for?
well, I'm not sure. I would think we'd want somebody to look at it, right, or not?
I think we should probably have somebody look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to just
I don't
come
know
and
for
have
sure where to
somebody pour
start.
some minus and riprap in there and say you're good to go.
Yeah.
And the thing is slowly eroding away underneath. But I don't know. I think it's an engineering firm that we.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll see what I can find.
Okay.
If I can get them out here, I'll have them look at all the lakes, all the dams. I mean, if they're coming, right?
Well, I think the DNR inspects our lakes, our dams every 2 years, and I think we're up for an inspection this year. I'm not sure what we, I mean, I don't know. I know that, I'm just concerned there's,
I would keep them focused on what the issue is.
yeah,
A broad.
summer, winter spillway,
Yeah, okay.
and see if they think there's an issue underneath it. I don't know if you can take a rod and sound it the way you would your driveway, or if they have, I really don't know.
Okay.
Okay. rinse station. Any updates on the rinse station?
So I talked to the plumbing engineer. He says, we kind of looked at some stuff and we found one that's like, I think it's 600 and, I couldn't actually print it out. It was 670 bucks, I think,
For,
for the actual hydrant. Okay? But we'd have to get a boring company if they could do it. So we'd have to see if they could drill it down. And I've got some sketches that we came up with, but they would have to be able to go through and then go to the lake and then do a drain as well.
okay, is there a company we call and say, hey, we want you to build
See,
this?
there could be, I mean,
We coordinated, we're the general contractor.
I would do it where we were the general on it. Because I mean, I don't know if somebody would do the boring and then do the plumbing at the same time. Because you would probably, I guess it's not tying into domestic water, so it's technically not plumbing. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So, I mean, would you have to pull a permit in Jefferson County for that?
So when I checked into all this and got the bid for like $25,000, I also talked to Jefferson County, and they don't have a problem tapping into the water, or they don't, the only problem they have is any kind of drainage.
Right.
They do not want it to go into the sewer system.
Right. Period.
They don't want sand to wash down into the
Yeah,
sewer
They
system.
don't want it to go into the sewer system. for
Right.
Ryan Creek.
Yeah, and we have a source of water, and it's gonna be warmer water coming out of the lake than it is out of the water system. It's not costly like we would pay for water coming out of the county water supply. But I just don't know how do we get that done?
So we'd have to contact a boring company first, so you could get it bored down underneath there, and then have that water, and have it low enough to where that water table will come up, so you can actually pump it up. So that would probably be the first call that we're gonna make, is like a boring company.
So would it be like somebody that would, if you got some raw ground, you go to put a well in, that type of company?
No,
That
like,
put wells in and-
Like people who bore the fiber optic cables,
Yeah.
same concept.
Going underneath the street.
Going underneath the street, doing that so you don't disturb everything. That would be,
Do you know if they also, when they do the boring, if they lay pipe?
yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually like an orange conduit that's 2 or 3 inch. Usually it's 2 inch. And they can go around, get under stuff pretty easy.
I thought it would be much bigger than that.
No. So like if there's an existing building and we need to run a sewer through there, we contract a boring company that comes through and they will bore it out for us instead of,
Then are there companies that do, like, as a plumbing company, will they come out and put the pump in and all that, or?
I mean, yeah, you could probably hire a plumbing company to do that, but the boring will be like a company in itself that does that.
Once you get the boring and the pipe in place, then you.
Then it's all downhill from there.
The other thing that I think we need to be aware of is, if you've been to the beach lately, where I think it would go, there's a lot of erosion there. There's a half wall of concrete, and then there's a big erosion. We can't erode away behind that concrete wall. So I think we're gonna have to get concrete, like a
Right.
pad to stand on where.
Yeah,
the
you'll have to
pump
have
would
you'll have to have a pad and then you can
And then
put
a drain.
a drain there and it just go to that seawall there. And just have it come out the seawall, and if there's any sand, it goes right there with the other sand that's already there.
Just this side of the seawall.
Correct,
It's a drain already
yeah,
that drains out into the lake.
right.
So,
be. Would you have time to contact boring companies?
Yeah, I can get some calls.
Can we just get an
Get some
idea of what it
estimates.
costs?
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I know we're,
And I got some stuff that we went over, if you wanna take a look over that.
okay.
and again, you talked about concrete, Jesse said he'd do it, he's a
Right.
local guy,
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
if we can pour a pad with a drain and
Right.
out of it and the bore,
But,
we
yeah.
get the plumbing company.
Get the boring
to-
done first, so you could bore the drain and the supply, and then come back and then
I see,
pour.
okay.
Yep.
All right, well, I know, you know more about it than any of us, all of us, so. Okay, varmint removal, So I contacted
Before
10
you
different
move on-
What?
Before you move on,
Yeah.
that eroding hillside,
Yeah.
are we concerned, or do we need to do something so that people don't do what they traditionally do, going up and down that thing? It's just really, really, really bad.
You know, I don't go to the beach enough to know. Is that what it's from? You think it's from people climbing up and down that hill?
Both. People go down it and up it, down it and up it, but then all the rainfall that we've gotten, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. There's just concern that someone's gonna take a towel, you know, that someone's gonna
Okay,
get
so
hurt, you know. someone's
maybe
gonna get hurt.
after we get an idea of what boring costs, we can have the concrete guy come out and also give us an idea of what it would be to put the pad right there and kind of seal off that wall.
Put a retaining wall across there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you know, should it get roped off to where, hey, don't come down this area anymore? Someone suggested putting one of those big boulders there, you know, to like,
Wash down.
well, one of those huge rocks. Okay, but yeah, I don't know, all I know is there's some concern that as we go into these holiday weekends and we get more and more crowded, that's when people traverse that hillside.
People talk about putting steps in there too. It's like,
But in the meantime, it's worse than it's ever been, and I don't know, you know. I told my kids, do not go there, go the steps, because I could see where it's just getting.
Okay, well, I guess the first thing maybe we need to do is get some caution tape or something.
That's my thought, whether they'll follow it or not, I don't know, but at least recognizing that this is not a good way to go up and down the hill
Right.
will at least be a step in the right direction.
Okay.
I mean, if anyone else here go to the beach often enough to know what I'm talking about and concerned with it? No?
it's been that way for a few years, it seems like. It is eroding, but I think part of it is because of the drainage that's there. I don't know so much about people coming up and down it.
Oh, they do.
I don't know.
It's gotten a lot worse this year.
It's a lot worse, because we would do it. I mean, that's where we hang, and it was just easier to go there than do the steps and go all the way around. But now it's like, don't even try, because it's just worse and worse and worse.
Have those steps been there for a number of years?
The real step,
Yeah.
the official steps that we're all supposed to go down, I
Yeah.
assume, they've been there forever. They've been here for at least 6 years, since we've been here. It's just this hillside.
There's the steps, there's the wall,
Right.
there's the drain that's right over here, and right by that is where everything is just kind of eroding, because people come walking up that instead of walking around and up the steps.
A drain.
Yeah, that drains back into the lake, that's the drain we're talking about for this thing, for the pump.
There's already a drain there?
No. you have to go-
Oh, okay.
This is just the drain for everybody.
Okay, I thought-
Because I mean, if you think, I mean,
You could, but it's such a small area.
how many people are gonna use it on a Saturday? 50, 100 people, you know, everybody pumps 3-4 gallons of water, you know, it's gonna start doing something.
Right.
So if we could just get like a, you know, maybe a 5x5 pad poured,
Okay.
and then have a drain, and then that body sit on that, hold the whole body down to that,
Last year I heard around $5,000 to get that done,
the pad.
bad.
Okay. All right, we'll just keep getting away at this one bite at a time. Barn removal, I did contact probably 10 different companies and individuals. It was hard to find somebody, you know, historically, I guess it's been a number of years since we've used a trapper. I don't know if we've been having a problem or not, but I haven't heard of muskrat or beaver sightings for the last several years, but I've heard a bunch of them this year. At least 4 different places in Spring Lake and 4 different places in Autumn Lake. So I was able to find a company that has insurance. Apparently, a number of years ago, the pelts value tanked, and so nobody even wants to buy insurance because there's just no money in it whatsoever. We had a guy that would inspect our dams on a monthly basis and just trap for us as needed. I can't find him. I've talked to 10 different people and nobody knows where he is. So we've moved on. There's a company that the Department of Conservation recommended, Advanced Wildlife Control. They will not do any kind of regular inspection or retainer type service, but they're coming out on Thursday. They have a set fee for setup that will include muskrat and beavers traps. They trap for 10 to 14 days or until they stop catching animals. And they charge us per animal. The board has given us some money, they've funded it to a certain point, but if we start trapping animals, we need to keep trapping them. And I'm sure the board all recognizes that hey, we can't not keep going. And we need to rid ourselves of them, not just reduce the population. I would say tell everybody you know, beware of the traps. We'll put something maybe out of a bulletin that keep your dogs out of the water, something like that, and be careful. I don't know where the traps are going to be yet. That's kind of up to them. But just for a couple of weeks, I asked that. I know they're going to trap for 2 weeks, and so I said, I asked Tilly to put in the roundup if you still see animals after the 20th, to please let us know. Anything else on that?
And you were, to homeowners, please allow the trappers to get to wherever they need to go on your
Actually,
property.
they contact me, they're gonna come by, they wanna do it by boat on Autumn and Spring Lake, and then probably walk around on summer and winter.
Okay.
So hopefully, I mean, you put that announcement out there, that said, please allow them to, the trapper, but we'll just have to see. I can't imagine anybody's gonna have a problem with it if we explain to it what we're there for. I think they'll just probably, some people are not gonna be aware that that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
Unless he has some kind of suit or hat or something that says, that I'm advanced wildlife control. Well, like aquatic control, I mean, it's pretty obvious who they are. They're both, you can see it across the lake that that's who they are.
I think it's gonna be important too to let the people know where the traps are, not to be fussing with them.
I agree.
Will there be flags or something on them? You don't know? I mean, I would,
Are they underwater?
Are they spring,
They're underwater.
are they spring jog traps?
It would be nice to know if they're underwater,
Don't
because
stick your foot in.
if they're close to the edge and people were fishing, and we're talking a lot of problems potentially, so it'd be nice to, if there was a flag or something.
I'll ask. I really don't know. I've
Or
asked
just
them.
mark it on the map? On the map? Where they-
I mean, we'll have to see what he
I don't
gets.
want to swim and have my foot get trapped either.
Well, I think they're right on the edge, but I'm hoping somehow we can identify them.
I would think that they would, because they have insurance, they would have to have some kind of marker or something.
Well, but, I mean, right on
Where
there,
to find their traps.
right on the thing that we signed says that, hey, we're not responsible for dogs and kids and whatnot. They can't be there 24/7 watching their traps, and so. But hopefully we can rid ourselves of varmints. The next thing I put on the lake was no wake zones. I've been getting so many calls from people about, I'm not sure what the solution is to that.
What's the issue?
I don't think very many of us could say what's 100 feet from here on land, much less on water. And people are saying boats are coming well under 100 feet close to the seawall. And I don't know,
It's 33 yards, think of it that way.
but I think distance is hard to tell on water. And
Yeah.
it's hard to tell on a golf course sometimes. I'm not sure what the solution is. I don't really want to litter our lake with buoys all over the place and make it look like the international border. But I don't know what the other solution is. If anybody knows of any solutions, at one time apparently I read through that there was talk about putting a whole lot of buoys out, but I just don't
Do
think
they
that's.
make GPS trackers for buoys to where you could sync it up with an app that says that buoy, just like a lot of golf courses do? They're connected to an app that it brings up it's like a rangefinder kind of a thing, where if you put the GPS on the buoys that are existing out there, and we say, these are now linked to this whatever app, that you can
I know
This-
last
this
year
far
they
away?
talking about people are moving the buoys.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
different
I-
issue.
I haven't seen the one by us being, I haven't seen it in any other location than where it is since I've been here.
I think it's more people,
Or you moved it once.
I think it's more people feel like there's no horsepower limit on this, on Bottom Lake. And so there's bigger and bigger boats all the time. They create wakes that go over the top of the seawall, and so people are upset that, which understand, our grandson almost went in, almost got washed in one time a few years ago, so, I mean, I understand it, but I don't, until we decide there's gonna be a horsepower limit, which I don't know that we do, we have a speed limit, but I don't know.
The issue with speed is going slow and plowing. It's
Yeah,
not got
the
anything to do with
farmers-
horsepower, it's not
Yeah.
got anything to do with high speed. High speed makes no wake.
Right, when your boat gets planed out,
It's
the
the
people that
plowing,
drive
it's the
along.
plowing that's going 10 miles an hour, and people still do it all the time, as much as we've talked about not doing it.
Yeah,
You see it.
maybe we just need to, I don't know, you think more awareness? Put more things in the roundup that say, that,
So a
Slow.
lake in Indiana put very few buoys that are just they're just labeled 100 feet, so that you have a vision of what 100 feet is from the shore. I mean, I wouldn't line the whole lake, but a couple of spots on each side down the lake would give you a good reference as to what's 100 feet.
or out off some points, maybe? Because we have them at the beginning of the beginning of the coast, the opening of the coast, but maybe if we put them out off the point, and only a handful of them?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do many. I would do them next to shore, I wouldn't do it out away, just straight out from a cove, because it doesn't give you any reference to what the shoreline
Right,
is.
I'm talking about from the points where we have them, say here's a cove, we have them right here, but as that point goes around, put it out there too, I don't know. What's the public think? What do you guys think?
I can see putting a couple out there. Along the straight sections of shore.
I just don't want to dot the lake full of
No.
buoys. Okay.
But I see some boats, and I don't know that I mean, it's obvious that they're really close to the shore.
Yeah, I think
It's like-
most people are voluntarily compliant and they just say, okay, I'll stay away from the shore, but every once in a while you see somebody just.
Yeah, I see
roar
it.
through there. And
And when I'm out there water skiing, I think most people in boats think they have to crop past my boat, between my boat and the shore, and they can go on the lakeside around too. I mean, this is when somebody stops or you're starting and this and that.
Well, maybe rather than buoys, maybe we start with some awareness, we just put some bulletins out that say, here's good boating practices. We just put a thing in the roundup that said, and not that we're gonna enforce it, but you need to have boater safety course if you were born after January 1st of '84. That's a state law. And I think it's a good idea, especially, it's like when I see a little kid driving a golf cart or see a kid driving a boat, if something happens, I'm sure your insurance would say, sorry, Charlie, that's on you. But I would rather approach it, hey, let's increase awareness and let's, move towards voluntary compliance before we start making any kind of restrictions. Does that seem like a good approach to you guys?
Yes.
Excuse me, I love that approach, the awareness approach. Is there a rule about the fishing? If they're just out there fishing, they can come closer than 100 feet, can't they?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So
You can idle as close as you want to the shore. It's not,
Pardon?
you can go no wake close to the shore. It's just about going fast close to
Oh,
the shore.
okay, I was just clarifying. Thank you.
Yeah, you can idle right up to the shore and idle right along. But yeah, it's just the wake.
Okay.
And it's really, just like Tom was saying, it's the people, we call them farmers, they just plow through the water with their bow up like this, and it just creates a horrible wake. Boats are designed to be up on top of the water. And I guess we'll just try to increase awareness. Yes.
I don't know how to do Google Maps very well,
but I have measured across. And I wonder if we could take our Raintree map and just outline what is 100 feet
100 feet over.
from the shore,
Yeah,
so
that
they've
might
got
be
a
one.
visual.
Yeah.
Because I know that halfway across is 200 feet, and if I'm gonna be 100, it's half, it's a fourth of the way across. But I think visually, that might be easier for people.
We could put a map in the,
I think there's a map like that.
I can't do it, but I.
I think there's a map like that here somewhere. I've seen it.
Maybe we start
Well,
making
if
it
you go to
a,
Google Maps.
when you get your boat sticker,
Dots.
we give you the map.
yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
So when you buy your boat sticker, here's the map to show you. Okay.
No way beyond this dotted line or whatever we draw on the map.
Yeah, just some delineation of where 100 feet would look like.
Anything we can do to just make people aware. instead
And
of
that's
being-
still
I
voluntary.
don't want to be restrictive and super punitive, just, you know, hey, you guys, be thoughtful of your fellow community members. Then I'm going to skip down to the last thing I had to report. You know, someone reported a boat out on the lake without a sticker, and I appreciate them doing that. I think that we need to police ourselves, and we need to make sure that people are doing the right thing, but, you know, to send us a note that says there's a white boat on the lake without a sticker, I mean, we don't have to share, none of us are policemen, or we can't go out and say, hey, you know, come with me. And so we need identification numbers or prior stickers, number or something like that.
So it didn't have a past Raintree number?
I don't know.
Kinda
Focus on the
doesn't,
coast.
but
I don't know.
Right.
The picture I saw, you can't really
are you
tell.
gonna get that close to Jerry's point?
But I just think we need to make awareness that, hey, you know, if you see something, say something, you know, but we need some kind of identification number, either the vessel's registration number or the old sticker number. I'm just happy to see people are becoming proactively saying, hey, I don't want this.
Who do we bring that stuff up to? Do we call the office? Do we?
You can do it on the website,
Well,
an incident
it's
report.
an incident report.
Yeah,
so
I
that's-
mean, it's very simple, just do it from your phone or whatever, and it gets to Lakes and Beaches and the board.
Yeah,
Rather than calling the office, sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle because,
Right.
you know, they're busy and stuff like that. So if you can do the incident report, just like you say, a gate's down, you say, I saw.
You don't
a
put
boat."
that on next door?
We all see that if it's an incident.
What am I looking at?
Being part of the rules committee, I was asking
Oh, yeah.
Laura if she knows how that process
The
works.
rules committee is never contacted regarding rules violations by the rules chairperson.
So remember when you spotted a bad thing out on the lake, didn't you send it to Desiree, Michael?
Yeah.
And then what happens though? So you
Ask
see it,
the
it's out
rules
there, there's
chairperson.
no
Don't know if anything
sticker.
happened or not.
Then
You took a picture of it. Desiree thanked you
Well-
for it.
I think
Yeah.
whenever
Done
possible,
one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
like if we find somebody who's boating without a sticker or a trailer without a sticker or something, so maybe parking's the exception, those people get fined, but otherwise, I think we'd rather know their information than give them a fine. You know, it would be, I think
I
she
would
gives most
disagree.
people an opportunity to make it right.
Yes.
Given our hours, you know, we're open 9 to 3 Tuesday through Friday or something, and if you work, it's hard to get a sticker, and so I think she tries to give people the opportunity to make it right. But if
if
some
I were-
people that have stickers from prior years and just neglect to get a sticker, they know better, those are the ones that she kind of has an issue with.
If I recall, when those have come up before, what Desiree has said during a board meeting is grab a picture and get it to her. So if there's a form that needs to be completed with a picture or whatever, because
Yeah,
I don't.
I would just fill out an incident report
Mhm.
and attach the picture to it.
You're asking me or telling me that?
No, I'm
Okay.
saying, I would fill out an incident report, because we all see them, all the board sees them.
And we all see them, but it goes to the appropriate, like, I don't butt in on rules or
Got it.
lakes and beaches, but we all, yeah. Doing an incident report is good. And I think Desiree really is trying to, I know she had 47 censures last
Yeah.
month, so,
I see her up here a lot, so I
Yeah.
know she's doing stuff. And
yeah.
again, I think she gives everybody the opportunity to make things right, plus then we have their information, and, you know, we can put it in our computer system that this boat belongs to this homeowner or lot owner, et cetera. And that's more helpful, and we make sure they get a sticker. That's better than saying, oh, you gotta pay us money, and, you know, you still don't have a sticker. The first time, but she doesn't allow people, she doesn't give them a break
Can't
the second
continue.
time. Which I don't think she should. The other thing I have down is signage. I think we need to get some signage up at the volleyball court, something that says play at your own risk. The towing company, after 15 or 20 years, had a dispute with his mobile number and with his carrier, and now he has a new number, so we need to change that sign. I think we need to have some kind of signage at the volleyball court, because that's our, you know, lakes and beaches and parks is all part of it, and campground center is all ours. We just need to have some kind of sign that says, play at your own risk. I don't know if anybody knows. Tom can get us signs, we just need to figure out what it needs to say. I'm sure there's,
I would think just play at your own risk.
And lights out at 10. Lights
we should
out at
probably
10.
Put the hours on it, lights out at 10.
Are they playing tonight?
So can I ask why lights out at 10?
Jefferson
Just
County,
curious.
Jefferson County has a noise,
You can hear them on the campground requirement as well.
10 o'clock is Jefferson County. The beach, the volleyball court, the parks
All
in
Green
Jefferson
Tree.
County, anywhere in Jefferson County, there's a noise curfew at 10 o'clock. And we want to be consistent with the county. We don't want to start making our own rules that are inconsistent with the county.
Just lights, yeah.
What? But that means people are congregating, potentially making noise, et cetera. And so just to be consistent with the county, that's what, you know, it used to be nightfall. The beach closed, all the places closed, but we made it 10 o'clock to be, or not me, it was before I was on board, to be consistent with Jefferson County.
Interesting.
If anybody can think of other things we might need to put on that sign, please let me know. I do think that once we hopefully get the the lake shocked, I think we may want to put the fishing regulations on a separate sign. They are now, and we may want to do that again. And then the sign on Spring Lake that says fishing only lake, I think needs to go.
Yeah.
People still think it's not a fishing only lake, it's a no wake lake. All of our lakes are for fishing, so I don't know why it says that, but again, that sign was probably made years ago, and I don't know, look at the signs, see what you think. I think we need to have one for the volleyball court, and I could see changing Spring Lakes, and I'd be open to any other thoughts. Tim was checking the food availability. I know he's contacted a number of food trucks, and they're just unresponsive. I don't know that Four Lakes has figured out a way to deliver food to the beach, but I know that I think they have carry out. You can drive up there. They have these box lunches that are for golfers that are $8 and you get a burger and a drink and stuff, or chicken and whatnot. So I think we should promote this. I'd love to see them. What else? What else from you guys? Are we still headed in the right direction, you think?
Well, Spring Lake looks better than it has in the past 6 years.
Yes, that's great.
Wow.
It's really clear. I was out for the first time on Sunday.
Treating it has helped.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. And are you seeing less algae or less rooted vegetation or less of both?
Algae.
Algae.
What about the rooted vegetation?
There's a lot of that in the coves.
What?
There's rooted vegetation in the coves.
Yeah.
There more than there should be, And of course, now there's more rocks too from that last storm.
Right.
It really pushed rocks into the cove.
Yeah, that's why.
Probably another 10 feet.
That's why I think it's imperative, I think it's highly important that we figure out this whole drainage thing before we spend a bunch of money on bio dredging or mechanical dredging or any kind of dredging. We need to figure out how to stop the inflow of organic and inorganic material before we start trying to get rid of the stuff that's there. Or do it simultaneously.
Which that is engineers coming out to look at that, is that right?
That's what
Yeah.
Mark was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully the study is more expensive than the actual. But it doesn't sound like, I don't know, I don't have any.
Putting in some vegetation's going to be the cheap route, but everything
But
else.
they said,
Building
develop
something.
riparian borders, you know, put different plants and things along the waterways to slow the water down. Really, I mean, I think the most significant takeaway I got from that entire presentation was velocity is more important than volume. It's not how much it rains, it's how fast the rain gets going, because that's when it can drag rocks and other things into the water. And we, as humans, take the creeks and the ditches and make them straight as a string, so they're not going through our yard, meandering through our yard, and we're our own worst enemy as a result. But none of us knew that, so I'm not being critical of anyone, but we need to be aware of that going forward.
Well, the deer can walk across the cove now without getting their hooves wet.
It's gonna be tough boating.
I recognize that, and I wish there was something I could do about it, and I hope that a day comes when we will. But I think we have to approach this methodically and stepwise, and stop any further inflow, and then maybe bio dredge and then eventually mechanically dredge. But it's not going to happen overnight. It took 40 years to get where we are. It's not going to go away overnight. But thank you, Mark. I have heard that people are happy on Spring Lake. I'm glad we're getting it treated, but recall that they're treating the algae. I don't think they're treating the rooted vegetation,
Well,
because
keep in
that
mind,
water is used on the golf course, and you have to be very careful. But
when we talked to the biologist, he said that the lake should have 1/3 of the shoreline covered with vegetation.
for fish cover or wildlife cover.
Right.
Okay. Anything else, you guys? What are we missing? What do we need to do different?
I had someone contact me and ask me what we're doing about the limits on the fish. I told them that we were doing the survey, but we haven't got the census back. We haven't done it yet.
You mean, are we actively patrolling them, or what are we going to change them to?
So the complaint was that somebody was on the course bragging to another guy saying, hey, we've been keeping this many fish out of the lake, we've been doing this and this and this, and it was like, okay, nobody's paying attention to the signs, and I think this person thinks they're catching all their fish and keeping all their fish and thinks it's just theirs. They could be following the rules. The complaint was that they caught 30 to 60 fish, kept 60 fish out of the lake. Well, if there's 3 guys in a boat and they go 6 times, they're within the limit. You know, so they wanted me to bring it up.
I don't know what we would do. I mean,
The only thing you could do is get a creel checker, and of course that's another person and another money.
But and see, what I don't get is, I mean, people say, hey, I don't know where the crappies are. There's no crappies in the lake anymore. There's a bunch in there. There's a bunch in there. I mean, it'd take you a while to find them, and you can't just go out there for an hour and find them. They're in there, but, so I don't know if we can get a census and tell everybody that, hey, there's plenty of fish in here. It's nothing to be concerned about.
well, I still don't understand why people would abuse that, but
I mean, when you can only keep 5 crappie a day, I don't even want to mess with 5 fish. I just want to, whatever. So, I mean, and when you catch 100 of them, then you can only keep 5.
well, I mean, I think this is going to sound a little silly, but I do think that we need to, you know, if you see something, say something, neighborhood watch.
Right.
I really think that when you hear discussions like that, you don't engage them, but just say, man, how can you sleep at night
Right.
you know, taking all the fish out of the lake.
And another thing,
It may be great for this summer, but what
Right.
about next summer?
and there's something that I did learn that I really didn't know. I was like, you know, I didn't know what the limit on bluegill was in the lake. There is nothing that states anywhere how many bluegill you can keep. Now, I know there's a lot of big red ear, like trophy-sized red ear.
Right.
So if someone was to come in and say, hey, I want to keep 100 of these, they can. There's no sign or no rule that says they can't, which is, I mean, I think it's horrible. So we need to, I think we need to get some kind of, you know, guidance,
Okay.
at least on that, because I mean, you can go up and you can catch a lot of them and do some damage quick on those red ears.
Well, let's see what the fish says when they come and shock our lakes.
When are they coming?
They hope sometime yet this year. They don't know, they gotta take care of all the public places.
Have you talked to them lately? Any update lately?
I talked to them in the last month, you know, a couple weeks ago. You know, they keep telling me the same thing. We've gotta do all the public waters first.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were impressed with our lake. They want to come back. But
So they're still planning to, that's the main.
there's no time for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he told me 2 years ago. We can't do it right now. And I got to run around it.
Squeaky wheel.
Well, I mean, you leave him a voicemail, he doesn't call you for 3 months.
He's gotten back to me
Yeah.
recently. I think they're interested in helping us out.
Yeah.
What was
And-
it sound like?
And I don't know who's got the old censuses when Frank had them done.
I've looked through that file and I'll look again, but I'll look again, but I haven't.
Because I want to say it was probably within the last 5 years that they had them done.
Frank does not have them.
No, Frank.
I talked to him,
Yeah,
he does not have them.
Right, and I asked Frank and he said he didn't have
And who did the census? Did the,
them. MDC.
okay.
And unfortunately, they don't have that.
Right.
But
So it's Missouri Department of Conservation, huh?
But we are seeing a lot bigger fish than we've ever seen in the last 3 years. I don't know why. Maybe it's-
largemouth.
Yeah. Maybe it's a cicada, I don't know.
You know, the fish club.
Yeah.
Finally got some food, huh?
Right.
Okay, so we'll get some caution tape out at the beach. You're gonna look for boring companies. You're gonna talk to engineering firms about the spillway between summer and winter. Ask them to come and look at it, and I don't know, I would think.
Put out some bids.
I think they do the work
Looking
as
for, right?
I think they do the work as well. I think
Yeah.
they come and look at it and tell you, oh, I don't know exactly how to do it, so we'll find out. All right? Mark, you'll let us know when you get the third
Yep.
bid, and then we'll decide what to do.
Absolutely.
So, Linda's having this deal this coming Wednesday, I guess?
It's not, no, you're
It's
talking
a
about the
board meeting.
Well, yeah, the all-in type stuff.
That's not a town hall,
That's
that's
the
the
board
board.
Okay.
meeting.
That's a board meeting.
Okay. Certainly, I know the board is the one that votes on the pricing of stuff, but we need to be able to kind of put that stuff out there so everybody has an idea on what the costs are. I mean, there's been a bid from Clean Flow, and, you know, those numbers, I think, should be put out there so that people look at it and go, oh, wow, it's not cheap, or, you know, wow, maybe this is why I've got to pay a little bit more. So I think that kind of information needs to be put out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, Greg, that's the intent of the board, but they talked about RF something, or where you don't put out all the bids, because then a company can come in and say, oh, I'll do it for $500, because they know what all the other companies are bidding.
They can't put out the bids until after they've awarded the contract, or else there's too much transparency.
You
But-
could put out the bids if you're no longer accepting additional bids. You don't have to wait, in my opinion, you don't have to wait until it's been awarded. But if you say you've put out the RFPs you've received 3 bids, we're no longer taking any additional bids. These are the 3 bids that we now have to make a decision to. You could put that out to the community and say, these are the 3 we have to choose from.
Listen, I've seen that. I work with state governments in contracts, and I've seen people come in and they were 10 minutes late getting there. Not included, sorry, tough. You can't bid, so you are right. You know, once you set a date and time, that's it. So that's what I'm saying. At some point, we need to be able to start getting that information out there, because in September, we're having votes, and I think people need to have some ideas as far as prices go. That's all.
And it'll be published well before then.
Yeah, I
So
think-
September's the vote, but the information's gonna come out in July, Tilly, is that the idea?
We're
I
hoping
think
July,
that-
August, so
July,
we'll
August,
That's
get.
what I understood the intent to be was, okay, let's figure out just exactly what it's gonna
You gotta
cost to
sell
do
it.
this.
Yeah, we gotta sell it,
You know,
market it.
and then get that information out. Because, you know, we vote 1 time a year, so we have 1 shot to do this. If we don't, then it's another year before we can do a lot of these projects.
And that's why I believe some of this information needs to get out there early enough so that people are able to digest it and say, oh yes, versus
I can
getting
tell
hit
you
with
that-
this stuff.
I can tell you the board members would rather do something else Wednesday night than to be here
Oh,
talking
sure.
about this, but that's
Some of us
what
would
they're
like
gonna
to
be
call.
doing, and
Yeah.
I think is it an open meeting?
Yep.
It's an open meeting.
Yeah, it's more informational. I
Yeah.
think they've got some new numbers and they're
I think
gonna,
it's just methodology, how we came with this number, you know, and,
yeah.
And if I could just speak to that for a moment, at the town hall meetings, you know, I will say that I take responsibility at holding Dave and John off on numbers. Give us the big high mark of what we need. Show us the roads, show us what this costs to fix so that people have awareness of that. Because it was the project team's intention, I ran it, you know, we ran this by a group of 11 of us, is like, we need to show people where we've been, where we are now, that 5%, because I've heard out on social media, we're already in a 5% increase. Why are they asking for more money?
Sure.
The 5% was nothing over 5 years, and showing people this, showing people that, and it was already very, very number intensive. And so the intention was, let's get into the present, there's more to come, giving everyone else the opportunity to nail down your bio-dredging
Right.
number better, to nail down a little bit, but get enough of the high level out there where people understand it's for this and this stuff is expensive. And details are to come, but it just wasn't appropriate, I didn't feel, to do it all at once, because people would be just, you know, too much information kind of thing. So maybe my fault that, you know, that people didn't walk away with clear numbers in their hand. But also at the time, we didn't have clear numbers.
Yeah, I don't think so. I guess we're 3 months out, right? Basically.
Of
So,
voting,
yeah.
yeah, but the
So,
information will
it's
be
just-
out
Yeah.
You know,
soon.
that wall's, we're gonna hit that wall soon. That's
But as
all I'm
soon as
saying.
it's out,
So-
then everyone knows, and they have, what, at least 2 months to digest the information. But the dollar amount is there, it's nailing it down a little bit to where and how, and, you know, and getting a lot of good feedback from the community, you know? And so I know that, you know, and I only know this because I've been sharing information with Dave and John about all the feedback we're getting. Here's what this people think, here, you know, so they've been going, okay, maybe we need to tighten up here, maybe this, maybe that.
I think this board has been very data-driven. If you look at Kent, what he's done with lakes and beaches, we don't make a decision without having proof or researched it or what's best for our community. I think the same is going on with the numbers with how much we have and how much it's gonna cost to keep Raintree status quo. But if we need it, I mean, we've already got a $12 million amount for what it would take to do all of our roads. Well, we haven't had that. Denny's done an excellent job getting bids and things like that. He's got an idea of what it's gonna cost. So we're getting those numbers together so that we can present that. And hopefully y'all can understand that it's not nickel and diamond. It is like, these are major projects that have to be done if we wanna keep the value of our homes.
And that's why I was saying to get this information out to people so that they know what needs to get done.
I do think that's the intent.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there'll be lots of awareness.
Because the worst thing we want to do is give out misinformation.
Correct.
Okay, anything else, anyone?
Yeah, to go back to the traps again, if we could have somebody on Autumn Lake, I can take care of Spring Lake, where they put a trap, just takes 3 feet of the fluorescent tape, you know, that goes around trees and hang it on there, just to let somebody know that there is something going on here, stay away from it.
Okay.
Kind of like the same thing you do on the drainage that she was talking about, that area, that type of stuff. The police tape or whatever.
I'll ask him on Thursday if we can somehow designate him, and he may say, oh, I'm putting a flag in the ground already. I don't know. I didn't get to that much detail with him.
So I should probably wait on a notice until I know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do.
Or you'll be doing another one the next day.
Yeah, because
And I may have missed it, Kent, did you give us a number of how many traps?
Nope, I don't know that yet. I mean, I'm gonna show him, I've been told of at least 4 different places that they've been seen at Spring Lake, and 3 different, and I saw one myself at a different place. So I'm gonna tell him those, but I think his intent is to drive around the lake and look for them. I did have one of the other companies that came out to give us a bid, and they looked at the dams and said, they don't see any varmints on any of the dams. So that's a good thing, but I don't think we want to wait until we have Muskrat City down here to say, oh, we need to do something about this.
Don't play that song.
Beavers taking trees down, their problems.
Right.
I've run into those where I used to live.
So that's why again, I know it's taken a month to get it, but it's finding the right company with the insurance. It has not been a simple 3 phone calls like we wish it was. But anyway, anything else? If not, let's adjourn, but thank you again for your attendance. We appreciate the feedback. This is more of an informational meeting than anything, and I hope it was good. I hope you guys got information.
We did, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay.